Welcome to Talking Industrial Automation, a podcast where you get to know the people who make modern industrial automation possible. You will get to hear from CSIA system integrators and industry partners to get a better understanding of how they help their clients solve process challenges and how they've earned success in their careers. Along the way, we will touch on system integration best practices, technology, trends, and challenges. Whether you are a manufacturer, end user, supplier, or system integrator, you will enjoy the insights these industry professionals bring to this podcast. Let's get started. Hi, my name is Lisa Richter, the host of Talking Industrial Automation, a podcast where you get to know the people who make modern industrial automation and processing possible. In today's episode, we're talking industrial automation with Adrienne Meyer, who is the CEO of CSIA, a position she has recently stepped into after the resignation of Jose Rivera earlier this year. Adrienne has more than 2 decades of experience in managing trade associations, membership communities, and standards development organizations, all with a particular focus on serving professionals in industrial automation. Adrienne's most recent role was Vice President of Operations and Membership for ODVA, a global association with a mission to advance open, interoperable information and communication technologies in industrial automation. During her tenure there, Adrienne oversaw operations, finance and accounting, marketing and communications, member recruitment and retention, sales and licensing, and committee management. Not only that, but she did this work on a global basis, facilitating teams and managing staff on multiple continents. Adrienne joined CSIA in June of 2024, just in time to attend the most recent CSIA conference in San Diego, albeit by using up her PTO. Adrienne, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.
So I hit the highlights of your career in the intro, but I would really like to hear more about the journey that led you to this place as CEO of a system integrator nonprofit of all things.
You know, it's interesting because I think the journey for those in industrial automation and those in association management actually has some similarities. An important one being that it's often not what you had in mind when you high school or college. Both industries are ones in which we are working hard to educate the young people on the opportunities there. So I've spent my career, the course of my career entirely in a nonprofit management. But my first path was to be in law or education or both. I think, that there's some overlap there. My bachelor's degree is in history. And topic of my senior honors thesis was women law students in the late 1800s, early 1900s. And super interesting to study that. But although I didn't follow the path of continuing on in history or in law for a variety of reasons, my love has always been to read and analyze and write. And thinking back, when I was like 8 or 9, my grandmother gave me not just one, but 2 sets of full encyclopedias. And I've got this very dorky picture of me hugging one of them. So I'm wondering if there's a picture of Lisa back in the day hugging one of those encyclopedias, because I can picture that we have a little bit of similarity there, that, just love digging into things and learning about them. So I've taken that, kind of joy of learning about things, seeing how things work, and distilling it into others as really a core for great business management. So my journey to CSIA, I guess, my first role out of college was with the National Conference of Bar Examiners. That's the standards development organization and oversight body for the bar exam for lawyers. And, that's where I first got my teeth cut on working with committees and board members. And let me tell you, when you do that with trial lawyers and law professors and state Supreme Court judges, you learn quickly to, stand on your feet and work under pressure. But really great group of members there. And especially, I want to, give a shout out to Erica Moser, the president at the time. She was the president for several decades there. Amazing person who, I was so fortunate in that first role for her to model for me what great leadership looks like, because she could be under the most stressful, complex situations. You can imagine that, working in that environment, working with the bar exam, you probably deal with a lot of difficult decisions. And yet she always acknowledged her team on an individual basis. And she was really amazing at understanding how to elevate an organization through its people. So from that role, that was in Chicago, and the organization relocated. And so at that time, my spouse and I took that as an opportunity to think about what we wanted to do next. And we decided to move to his home country of New Zealand. And there, I worked for the University of Auckland for a while on a specialized project regarding the university and a teacher's training college there. And that was super interesting because I got to work with just a range of different stakeholders, from students and professors to the community to the Indigenous representatives, faculty, of course, if I didn't say that. And I guess what that really taught me was listening, and not just actively listening, but like making sure that you're hearing what people are saying, because you've got these diverse group of people with many different needs, and you have to figure out, how do I bring them together? So I feel really fortunate I was able to do that. I also worked for an amazing professor there. His name was John Hattie. What I got of that is he really was super curious and incredibly passionate about his work. Seeing that in a leader and being able to model that, I think, was also impactful. Although New Zealand's amazing, and anyone listening, if anybody needs any recommendations for travel, totally able to give them to you. It's an amazing country. 10 out of 10 would recommend. A range of different personal reasons brought us back to the Midwest of the United States, and we settled in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And that's where I started this career overlapping in industrial automation and association management for ODVA. As you noted in your intro, I've held a range of progressively increasing roles there, pretty much doing the facet of everything you can do to manage an association. And while I was there, I also earned my MBA for the Ross School of Business at the University of Michigan, go Blue, focusing on global business management. So that really helped with applying that to an international association. And I guess what I want to say there is, like, through ODVA, what really shone brightly for me was the members and the other organizations in that space. And industrial automation is filled with curious, meaningful, kind professionals who, they create interesting things. And what got me out of bed every morning was really engaging with the membership. That is a great group of people. And, as you know, Lisa, it's the members are what get you, set the tone of your life, get you out of bed every day, put a smile on your face. And so to me, it was really cool to be surrounded by a group of engineers who are creating things that affect all of us. I mean, they don't do their jobs. We don't have clean drinking water, and, is incredibly impactful. So I enjoy the space. And related to the work there, I'm most proud of the work that I did to build relationships with other associations in the space. We had a range of different collaboration opportunities, and we really looked at how could we make things better for industry at large. That was kind of my guiding light there on projects I was working on, was to really see what we could do to help the members of all of our organizations.
Okay, harder question. How do you explain to family and friends what it is that you do?
That's a harder question. It is a harder question.
It is.
So I've listened to your podcasts, a little bit of stalking here, and I heard I'd say at least two of your podcast guests use the phrase connecting the brains of the factory. So I've actually started to use that. I think that's pretty cool, and it's really succinct in a way that people will understand. But you're absolutely right that it's a challenge. When I was talking with my family about changing positions, changing companies, my daughter said to me, "Okay, I have memorized that you work for a trade association in industrial automation. Don't really know what that means, but this is what I understand. Is this going to change?" So, no, you can keep using that. So that makes sense. So I'd say for lay people, I tell them that I work for an organization of specialized engineering firms that help network the brains of the factory together.
I had a colleague one time who was telling a story about her daughter who was asked at school what her mom does. And she's like, She goes to meetings and attends emails. Or emails and answers emails and attends meetings. That's what she does.
I email.
All right. So you talked a little bit about how you were kind of maybe destined for law or education in some way. But right now, if you had to choose a completely different career, what would it be and why?
I would say that it would be a career that involves writing, reading, teaching. I probably would follow through on thoughts of going into academia. But they probably would have me running some faculty senate or organization through that. Organizational life, I think, is a little bit my blood here.
Yeah.
Quick question. Are you a CSIA member? If so, I need you to do something for me. I need you to go to www.controlsys.org/renew and follow the instructions there to renew your membership. It's literally as easy as reviewing your organization info, selecting your add-ons like benchmarking reports or marketing tools, and then hitting return. And it will ensure that you and your entire team won't miss any member benefits, such as being eligible to attend the CSIA conference or accessing content behind the member wall, like the recent economic and labor update for system integrators. So please, take 2 ticks and get this sorted. If you don't want to do it for you, do it for me, because my boss said if I don't get you on board, I will have to start cold calling. Ugh, please don't make me do that. And if you are not a CSIA member, what are you waiting for? Let's get this party started.
Just to be extra pedantic, and on the off chance that someone listening does not know what CIA is, what is your elevator pitch?
So for me, in short, CSIA is the home for system integration professionals. Like, this is the place where SIs can come and learn from other system integrators on how to run the most successful businesses possible, where they can discuss trends and traps, and honestly, where a few system integrators have already said to me, quote, where people speak their language. And that can mean different things to different people. For founders, company entrepreneurs that are just starting out, but they're hitting a roadblock, they don't understand why they're not growing, that's where they come to CSIA, leverage the best practices, and really start to get their arms around how to organize their businesses. For founders that are looking, have spent a long career and are looking to exit, they might be thinking through that and exploring, sessions that we talk about how to think about the value of your business. For marketing professionals, that might mean attending our SIG meetings to understand how to craft a budget that's understandable in management. And for people managing people, that might mean discussing how to help their staff avoid burnout and to thrive at work. So I think overall, our job here at CSIA as board and staff is to listen to our members and figure out what they need to help them run successful system integration businesses and work to provide it.
Yeah. So you just started a couple of months ago, and as you said, you've been kind of meeting and talking to a few of the members. Tell me a little bit more about your travels over the summer and fall and what you've learned.
Yeah. So, my mantra is that a successful membership association is one that listens to its members, which sounds obvious, but sometimes these things diverge over time. And so it's good to have that always first and foremost in my mind. So with that in mind, it's been important to me to sit down one-on-one with our members while we're still doing the work of running the association, so that we understand what they need so we can evolve and pivot as we manage. So in addition to talking with our board members, committee chairs, the people that are involved on a more day-to-day basis with the management of the organization, I've also taken the opportunity to visit system integrators and partner members in their facilities as I've traveled around the country. So that a little bit, kind of background on what your question was there. So as I've done that, there's a couple things I'd say have become apparent. First is that members turn to CSIA to meet other SIs and to connect with partner member representatives. And the phrase, like I said before, they speak our language. I had 2 system integrators use that verbatim. And it really seems that the sense is when you participate in the organization, you're exchanging ideas with people who can understand you in a way other people can't, and can really help you. The other thing that I heard was how important certification was to their businesses. And granted, these are members who are certified, completed a certified audit, but when I'm thinking about this, what struck me is these importance of certification came from members who had been certified multiple times. So what I learned was that they actually significantly gained something out of each subsequent certification, it's not a process that has diminishing returns each time you do it. And I think that surprised me. I thought, well, you got your certification, you know all you need to know. But one of the SIs even, described certification, the whole certification process as shining a flashlight into the corners of their businesses, and that each time they did it, they learned something new, they got something out of it, and they were able to make the changes they needed to their business to help them be more profitable, help them grow. So I think those 2 things are the ones I'd highlight.
Based on what you heard from CSIA members, their challenges, their ideas, and obviously from the board, what do you see for the association going forward?
Well, I see a few things. First, since networking and engagement are so incredibly important to our members, it's my view that we need to make it as easy and understandable as possible on how to engage with the association. So I'm looking at the collaboration opportunities we have, how understandable they are to new members, how members feel welcomed into them so they can have these transformative experiences that members I've visited talked about. And also, second, I think that, overall, with thinking about how easy and understandable it is, I think that extends to ensuring that we have a personal connection from the leadership, from the staff, to the membership, to make sure that our members understand the wealth of benefits they have here and to ease their way to utilizing them. From what I've seen here, you do an amazing job of connecting our members in your work to bring them opportunities like this podcast. And I want to make sure that the sense of personal connection that they have with you is throughout the organization from the day they join. And third, I would say, like I mentioned before, the best organizations are the ones in which the association asks its members for feedback and then listens to them. So I'm also working on reimagining how we survey our members to ensure we're capturing the right information and capturing the breadth of information. CSA typically sends a survey in this October-November timeframe, which is something we're going to do again for 2025. So if you're listening to this, watch your email. But for 2026, we'll be rethinking when and how and what we ask our members. So that will help us ensure that if there are products and services we can provide as an association to the system integration community, we can evolve it to help meet their needs. And we can do that with a viewpoint of core and then regional needs as appropriate. As you know, we have a critical mass of members, not just in North America, but for example, also in Latin and South America. And although there are core products in the association and service to the association that are easily delivered globally, there might be regionally specific needs that we'll find out through talking with our members. So listening to members in a specific region will help them serve them better and then also expand to other regions where system integrators would like to connect.
Why do you think it's important for system integrators to even join an association in the first place? I mean, why in the world would anyone who is building a business want to share ideas with their competitors or even have their team engaged with peers and run the risk of their talent getting poached?
Yeah, well, when I came to the conference in June that you talked about, it was really there that I was introduced to the tagline, I'll say, that in CSA, you give one idea and you get 10 back in return. And to be perfectly frank, I thought, well, that's clever. But here's the thing. I've had, I don't know how many system integrators that I've talked to repeat that phrase back to me as the reason why they belong to the association. I actually have to acknowledge I had a conversation with Wright Sullivan, who's on the board yesterday, and he used the phrase, you give one idea and get 20 back in return. And I said, oh, wow, we've got a better return on investment than I realized we did. But when I talked to the members about it and they've mentioned this, I'm like, are you serious? And the system integrator members are deeply serious about this benefit. They talk to me about how when you open yourself up to connections with your peers, you learn so much more about your businesses and yourself than you thought was possible. I think really we should give kudos to Jose Rivera, to Bob Lowe, the predecessors in the leadership role of this organization, as well as to the OGs, the original members that created this association, because they understood that to build something great, you can't do it in a vacuum. You can't do it alone. You need peers to help you. Through this role, I've learned that yes, while system integration companies do compete, there are so many different variables in the type of work that's done, from industries to geographies to technologies, that there's a lot of room for SIs to carve out their own niche in this business. And that makes it not only easier for them to learn from each other, it's important for them to connect through CSIA to develop the relationships they might need with other system integrators to be able to collaborate on future projects.
Let me ask you a question. Don't get mad. How many people in your life truly understand what it is that you do? I'm willing to guess the answer is not too many. I get it. So many of us toil in anonymity. But what if I told you that I have a place where you can go to meet and talk and commiserate with people who do understand what you do because they do the same thing? Amazing, I know. But that's really the bottom line what CSIA is all about. And recently, we've expanded our learning and networking opportunities to help you find your people. We are calling them special interest groups. These groups are aligned around topics such as emerging leaders or marketing, and they meet virtually throughout the year with some plans for meeting in person as well, probably in conjunction with the CSIA annual conference. We will be bringing more online throughout the year, but for now, if either of those topics sound interesting, go to www.controlsys.org/events to check out what we have lined up. Full disclosure, you do need to be a member of CSIA to join the marketing SIG, but the emerging leaders one is open to anyone who wants to give it a try. So why not take a minute and check out the upcoming schedule at www.controlsys.org/events. Your people are waiting. Yeah, I asked one really successful system integrator leader the same question, like, why are you letting your people come here and teach other people? And he's like, you still have to execute. You can have all the knowledge in the world, but you still have to execute. I think about that all the time.
Yeah, it's a cookbook, but yeah, let me tell you, cooking is not my forte. So me with a cookbook and Julia Child with a cookbook are going to turn out two different things.
She did like her wine, though. That's another thing. All right, switching gears a bit. One of the major projects in your portfolio is the conference. For starters, remind people just about the basics, the who, why, what, where, when kind of stuff.
Sure. Yeah, your intro today talked about how I used my PTO to attend the June 2025 conference, and that's true. And I did that because I thought it was super important to see this showpiece event for the organization, even though it was taking place while I was still working at ODVA. And I'm really glad I did this, and I'm grateful to ODVA for allowing me to do this, because I would not have understood the level of connection and community that happens at this event if I hadn't done that. Like, I was utterly blown away by how warm and safe and welcoming the event was for new attendees. And I definitely encourage anyone who's listening to this who hasn't attended to do so. It's an amazing event. But to answer your question, to the logistics, the 2026 conference will be held in the Inner Harbor of Baltimore the week of May 4 through 8. at the Hilton there. And cool fact, the hotel itself overlooks Camden Yards, so you'll get a glimpse of the stadium that most people don't get to see. We're actively planning the agenda now, and I can say that you'll be able to look forward to meaty, thought-provoking keynotes, lots of formal and informal networking opportunities, panels and educational tracks designed for system integrators, and a whole lot of fun. So we aim to open registration before the end of 2025 in case anybody needs to maximize their Q4 budget usage.
Nice. I see what you did there. Okay, so yes, you're creating this agenda. That's a big job. And what's your meal plan for eating that elephant, so to speak?
Yeah. Well, we are proceeding in a manner that I see as my North Star, which is with member input. So Lisa, you and I went to the partner meeting last month in September in Chicago, which was a great gathering of 30 to 40 member companies, mostly partners, some SIs, who talked about a range of different ideas and feedback for the organization. And so we gathered feedback related to the conference there and at the board of directors meeting that subsequently followed that. And I've also pulled together a committee of members who are reviewing those ideas and solidifying them into a plan. And I've reached out to our committee chairs, and we'll be leveraging their input and ideas as much as possible. So really, all things are possible with member help.
Yeah. Okay, so aside from the conference, what else do you see for the association in the near term as well as the long term?
Okay. So going back to what we discussed earlier regarding member engagement, my focus is really to make sure that the members have the tools they need from the organization in a way that's easy for them to use and connect, which might include new events and activities. So watch this space or read your newsletter when it comes to your mailbox. But a part of this also is to make sure that system integrators understand how CSIA can help them, which is a bucket of ways that we can help you, so many different ways. But I'm looking at opportunities to refine our messaging and take it on the road to system integrators over the course of 2026 so that we're really getting out there and explaining why system integrators really want to consider this their home. And also being on the road and visiting members to understand what they need and how they serve them. So if you're listening to this and you're willing to have me stop by, please do reach out.
So you talked a little bit about what members can get out of the association. Do you think there's some things that some of our members are sleeping on, like, hidden gems that you want to point out here?
There are so many benefits. I absolutely think there are some that are likely not well known. One, I would say, is our special interest groups. As you know, we have special interest groups that are focused around topic areas. And these events are cameras on, no recording, live event that lets you directly learn from others who work for system integration firms on areas like marketing or digital transformation or for emerging leaders. It's kind of a networking event around a topic and learning from each other. In addition, let's highlight this podcast. You've got amazing download numbers, like hello world out there listening to me. And it's a great way for members to highlight their employees, their company wins through a type of platform that's accessed by all generations. I guess one other thing I'd say is our benchmarking products. We've got 3 key benchmarking products: the Easy Stats, the Pulse survey, and our salary survey. And I want to acknowledge the amazing work our benchmarking committee is doing to evolve these products to ensure they continue to give the data that the members need to make good business decisions. And that all starts with members engaging with the survey. So I would definitely recommend the membership checking those out too.
All right, switching gears again. Oh my goodness, we're getting whiplash. Are there any books you would recommend? Fiction or nonfiction? We don't judge here.
Okay. Well, I love reading and I love buying books. And as I read some more, those are 2 different hobbies.
100%.
I do have a lot of nonfiction books that I have read, and I have a lot of nonfiction books that I am working to read. And I guess my hot tip there is sometime in the past year, I started treating them like homework and assigning myself 20 pages rather than sitting down with a 500-page book on economic theory and thinking I'm going to start it at 9 p.m. on a Thursday. If I, cut off a little bit of those, then you talk about eating elephants. That, it's along those lines. But so my area of fiction that I enjoy, you can describe it, I guess it gets described as speculative fiction, which is this catch-all for sci-fi and fantasy. And there are a few authors that I definitely adore. Becky Chambers, N.K. Jemisin, Martha Wells. So if you're looking for an alternate universe that addresses the reality of how humans behave while imagining a world that could be better, I would recommend the Wayfarers series by Becky Chambers. I read an article about her that said that people have given her or have described her work as hope punk.
Oh,
Steampunk, all
yeah.
that sort of stuff, but it's hope punk.
Nice.
Because it's punk to be hopeful. And I think that that's a perfect description of her universes. Anything by Becky Chambers.
Finally, what's the best advice for your younger self just getting started?
Ooh, two things. First, later in life than ideal, but never too late, I came across the work of a professor by the name of Carol Dweck. And a couple decades ago, she wrote a book called Mindset. And her work focuses on whether one believes their intelligence and talents are, she uses the phrases, if I recall correctly, fixed or fluid. So I realized after I read that I had carried the belief subconsciously for too long that I believed that my intelligence was fixed. I guess I didn't lock that in, I didn't consciously believe that, but I carried with me that, if I could understand something, then it was great. And if I couldn't, well, I'm not sure, making an effort would really change that. And that belief, I was incredibly curious, but timid. So I didn't want to dive into something and try something because if I tried something and failed, that it's an intrinsic message about your value. So her work really showed me kind of the journey I had been on to a growth mindset where I realized that, failure is just a part of life. It's, you got to try. And those are easy things to say and hard things to do. But it gave me the kind of academic backing that, okay, you can, however long ago I read it, it was like, this makes sense that you've got to get out there and try it and then just not care if things fail as much. And I think also for my younger self, I would tell them to ask for what they need. I think that, people are so focused on being responsible and handling things yourself, and you want to show that you're competent, that I probably didn't reach out to mentors as much as I should have to show vulnerability and say, hey, here's where I need help. And, kind of on the other side of my career, having done, worked for a few decades now, I can see that there's lots of great people out there that want to provide guidance. They want to see people succeed and they want to see younger people succeed. And so I recommend to myself to lean on them more. And maybe that's why I see such value in associations like CSIA, because they help connect you to who you need to know to help you along the way.
Well, that's it for today's episode of Talking Industrial Automation. If you are interested in learning more about Adrienne, you can browse her work on controlsys.org or connect with her on LinkedIn. Thanks for listening, and thank you, Adrienne, for joining me today.
If you enjoy this podcast, please subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. You can also really help the show by leaving a review and sharing with colleagues. We're all just slaves to the algorithm now, so I gotta ask. Thanks for listening to the Talking Industrial Automation podcast. Thanks also to bensound.com and Wistia for the music bumpers. Until next time.